us. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Trudging Tuesday, and here we are, God-centered recovery. Welcome, everybody. This is our first show. We have myself and Roger. Roger, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, Roger and I got to know each other over the last couple months. I've been a guest on Take 12, and then I really enjoyed it. So, I actually reached out to Monty. I'm like, hey, if you want me to be a regular, I'd be happy to do it. I kind of inserted myself in the show, but yeah, we have a lot of fun, man. And what is it? What does it say? It says Roger support. Roger. I can't.
It said
really
title. I wrote servant.
Oh, servant. Okay, yeah, that's perfect for this. That's perfect for this. Let's do this. We're gonna change the font on it because it'll be easier to read. And now I don't know where the fonts are. They moved them. Oh well. Guess that's what it is. All right. So things just happen the way that they're supposed to happen. But but we met on Take 12 Radio. You guys I really enjoy sitting down with you. We have a lot of fun. We help people. I'm not sure what else to really say on it. So, that we met. Is there any plug you want to throw in there at the beginning?
Well, I don't believe in coincidences or mistakes. So it was a pleasure when you became a co-host on there, and the whole thing just seemed to connect. And when you asked me to join you, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm so blessed and grateful to be able to talk about what God has done in my life.
Absolutely.
Through the 12 steps of AA. And so anytime I get to share, this morning I was at Teen Challenge and got to do that very same thing. And Thursday I'll be at Salvation Army. So here I am, and now we're doing this. Yeah.
You're also part of the Came to Believe group.
I am indeed.
Right? Oh yeah. So what do you do? What do you do for them?
So Came to Believe is an organization that just celebrated 50 years of being together. It was started by Clarence Schneider, one of Dr. Bob's sponsees.
Yeah.
And it's a nonprofit that basically teaches the 12 steps the way they were done by the founders in the beginning in 1935 and 40s. Wow. And I'm part of the teaching team. So
good job,
it's interesting that Monty, that I met in March of 2008, I also met Dick B., who organized a meeting.
Wow.
Who was the one that edited the Legacy Guide, which is the workbook that we utilize with Came to Believe.
Wow.
And I also met Dale Marsh, as another one of the team from Came to Believe. So it's always fun to watch God start orchestrating. He has this gigantic chess table in the sky, and he starts moving pieces around, and then we connect, and we watch. And we're just grateful.
Yeah,
we just get to play in his game.
That's it. We get to. Because I absolutely believe that God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. So I get to walk under the grace of God every minute of every day.
Amen. Absolutely.
When my intentions turn to utilizing my skills to help people instead of manipulate them, He started presenting me with different people like yourself and Monty and a lot of other people in our lives. Now, don't they have a virtual coming up in January? Came to Believe it's $50.
They do. I think it's January 10th.
10th
I
is what it is.
actually
Yeah.
no, it's on the 9th. It's Friday and Saturday. I believe that's the 9th and 10th.
Yes. It's a Friday, starts Friday morning. And while we're talking, I'll probably go grab the link, throw it in chat for people. Go sign up for that. I'm going to be there myself. Because if we can if we, the more, the more, the more different ways I figure out how to do these steps, the more use I am to God and His children. That's the way that I see it. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah.
and when they started, it was all about getting through those steps. How soon do you want to be well is
Yeah.
the question,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes quickly, something. Now, if I would have done it quickly when I first got here, it wouldn't have stuck. But now that I'm a little bit, been a little bit more, but I had to learn how to walk and talk again. I did not have my brain for several months.
I think
So,
I mean, in terms of my journey's the same. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I thought I knew a lot, and
mhm,
so I had to get rid of me being in the way all the time and let God do what God does, and that's put people in your path that are willing to walk you through this thing called recovery.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's such a blessing to be part of it and to be on this side and to watch newcomers or people that just come in and watch their lives change and watch what
Mhm,
happens. It's just exciting.
it is. One of the best things about what we do is watching other people
Yeah.
reclaim their lives.
Yep.
Watching a young woman get her children back and spend time with them.
Yep.
Um, because we get to see the crying children and the despairing wives, but because we have to go through that part, we also get the benefit of watching them recover. That's the gift that we get for just being available. All right. So,
Yep. Mhm.
um, but yeah, welcome everybody to God Center Recovery. My name's Dion. Our other host is Roger. We plan on doing this twice a month, every other Tuesday. And the plan here is what we're going to do is Roger's going to pick a proverb, which I know nothing about, and he's going to send it to me. And then I make kind of a recovery topic out of it. Um, and, uh, and so I thought this was very interesting. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. I know I'm looking forward to it. Today we're actually going with Proverb 1. And the episode of this one is called When Wisdom Calls and Trouble Whispers. But what I would like to do is kind of concede the floor to you. And if you could kind of give us uh, maybe a rundown or a lead on Proverb 1 for us so that those of us that are a little more naive about it can understand it.
Well, here's what's interesting. The longer that I was 12 years sober, and I was told that everything in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous came from the Bible, and I was
Mhm.
astounded.
Yeah.
It was like no one ever told me that. I've been to maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of meetings. I don't know, a lot of meetings in
Yeah.
12 years. And when I found that out, I went, well, wow, that's interesting. So you start doing some research. Anyway, the book of Proverbs was written by Solomon, who was the son of King David,
Okay.
and purported by most people of knowledge and wisdom to be one of the most knowledgeable, wise men in the world.
Okay.
So he wrote, there's 31 proverbs. There's one for each day of the month, and
Wow.
it's a great
Okay.
read, sort of as an inspiration or a devotion, or simply just trying to gain some wisdom from what he had to write.
So
And
are proverbs kind of like a daily reflection like we do in AA,
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, so it keeps you, in your principles, keeps you aligned what you're doing.
right,
Monty's here. Hey, Monty, good to see you. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you both.
yeah. Hey, welcome, guys.
Yeah.
So Proverbs 1, it talks about the purpose and the theme. It says, Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. And it says, for gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for
Mm-hmm.
receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right, just and fair.
Hmm.
And it's like I mean, it's I like to call it straight talk to men and women to
Mhm.
how we should think, behave, and speak. And
Mm.
it's the same thing that we learn how to do with the traditions and the 12 steps.
Absolutely, it fits right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you read these and you go, and it's so straightforward and simple. It's like, well, yeah, but it wasn't part of my human nature. My nature was
Yeah.
so broken.
Yes.
It was hard to have. I had very little wisdom. I had tons of knowledge. I had a
Yes.
lot of information. But you guys in the recovery community have taught me how to be recovered, and you told me that if I live the 12 steps,
Mhm.
that my wisdom will come as a direct action of applying the 12 steps in my life. And that's the experience, strength, and hope that we share with people
Mhm.
that are just trying to get clean and sober.
Yeah.
And I
And
love
I
that. I mean, it's like for gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair.
yeah.
Well, it's like says it all, doesn't it? It's like,
Yeah, and it's pretty
okay.
yeah, what do they say? Most good ideas are simple, right?
Yes.
And this
Hmm.
is very simple, and, if we alcoholics can get past the these and the thous and the and the other stuff, we can start to see in there that we do align with these things. I was told that the big book is the Bible for dummies, because we like to have fun, you know,
I qualify.
you know, and I appreciated them simplifying it even more for me so I could understand.
Yeah.
Um, and I've never read the Bible, but I have a friend, Pastor Marcia. Whenever I talk to her, she's like, "Dion, you're talking right out of this. You're talking right out of that." So
Yep.
yeah, you're catching something here. But the proverb behind this is seeking the wisdom to our answers, maybe guidance,
Yeah.
looking for guidance through God. Is that am I
Yeah.
catching it right?
Yeah. Well, prudent behavior.
Okay.
I mean, what's our challenge when we come into the rooms of recovery? It's to
Mhm.
learn how to do life on life's terms and treat our fellow man and treat ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's about prudent behavior, and this is instruction and to do what is right and just and fair. I just simply didn't think that way when I was out there. I just didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't care what was
yeah,
right, just, and fair. I wanted what Roger wanted, and I would do anything to get it. Lie,
yeah.
cheat, steal, manipulate you, tell you that I liked you and I didn't care about you at all.
Mhm.
So yeah, it. I love the tag that you gave the show. When wisdom calls and trouble whispers.
Yeah. It's like having yeah, I don't know how many people remember, but, Donald Duck, there's a couple cartoons where he has an evil duck and a
Yeah,
good duck
yeah,
on his shoulders, right?
right,
And
right.
that's kinda how I feel sometimes is, there's one part saying, "No, Dion, we need to stand in the sunlight of the spirit and do the right thing." Then there's the other part that's like, "Hey, it'd be fun to watch the neighborhood burn," you know? I mean, it's like, "Whoa, dude. Wow, duck. You
Yeah,
are man." So, um, but to think that, I used to, I mean, there's human will, right? So God gives me my own human will. If I wanted to go to the liquor store right now, I could. He might stop me. I don't know. Um, but I found that when I am left to my own devices, I think this is a great way to put it. An alcoholic without accountability does the wrong thing, even with the best of intentions. I need
yeah.
guidance. I can have the
Well, it
best intentions in the world, but if
yes.
I don't seek guidance, there's gonna be something in there that's probably going to affect somebody
Mhm.
badly, and I'm not
Eh
thinking of it because I want what I want.
right, and if you're not accountable to someone and
Mm,
responsible for prudent behavior, you then put mind-altering substances in your body,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
there is no truth, and there is nothing prudent, and it's not about fair. It's that I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get, no
yeah,
matter what, and it all changes when you start applying principles to our life and our thinking. I was talking to some of the guys this morning, and I said, we have to act our way into right thinking.
I haven't heard
We
that line
can't
in so
think
long.
our way into right acting.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
first time I heard that, I went, "What? Wait a minute, I gotta write that down. I gotta
Yeah.
act my way into right thinking. I
Yeah.
can't think my way in." I mean, it sounds silly and stupid, and all the cliches that we hear in rooms of recovery, we think are stupid. Well, guess what? They're all 100% true.
Yeah, and they work.
They
They
work.
abs
Only
they
when we
work.
do it, though, right? Only
That's
when we
right.
do it.
Yeah. We have to learn to listen after years of not listening.
Oh,
My defiance of thinking that I am right. I found that humility probably works best in this situation.
that's
Maybe I don't know, and that's okay. It is okay to be naive and not know.
yeah,
In fact, this show is based off of that. I'm naive to the Bible, but we're going to sit down and see how these things match, so that
yes,
people, because we got in the big book, it says we got to see where religious people are right,
right,
and so that's what this show is about. We're gonna figure out where religious people are correct.
right.
And
I
if we can walk into the room, say, what's the first thing we say? I don't know anymore.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, well, saying "I don't know" is a big step in
yeah,
being teachable. My
absolutely.
sponsor asked me 3 questions when I asked him if he'd be my sponsor. He said, Are you an alcoholic?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Are you willing to go to
Willing.
any length" yeah, willing to go to any length to stay sober? I said,
Mhm.
"Yes." And then the 3rd question, he looked me in the eye and he said, "Are you teachable?"
Ooh.
Ooh. I basically lied and said yes, but it took me time. It took me time to listen
Mhm.
and follow direction and be accountable and be
Yeah.
transparent and be vulnerable. I
Yeah.
was none of those things.
Mm.
And I knew nothing about rigorous honesty. And I knew nothing about humility. I knew about humiliation, but I knew
Absolutely. We know
nothing
that one
about,
very well.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I knew nothing about humility.
Yeah.
And I learned those things. I learned those things.
Mm. Well, I think what you were is you were honest as you could be at the time, and your sponsor probably knew that.
Right.
Because honesty is
Sure.
the first principle, but rigorous honesty ain't happening for a little bit, because it
Exactly.
isn't until
Yeah.
I get to the fourth and fifth step to realize where I was lying, how I was lying,
Yeah.
where I was manipulating, and the repetitiveness of it too, over
I,
and over again.
I yeah, my nature was so broken. I lied about things there was no reason to lie about.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just ingrained in me. I would say things that there was no reason to say what I said, and it was a lie.
Oh,
And I'm like,
you
"Why did
you'll
I
like
say
this
that?"
one. I think I forget. I think it was like 4 or 5 years sober, and I spoke. This is the first time I was sober. I had 10 years of sobriety, and I was talking to somebody after the speaker meeting, and I was telling them how I was related to Donnie and Marie Osmond, and my mom was standing there, and she said, "Dion, no, you're not." And I turned to the person. I said, "No, I'm not." It was a lie that I believed because I had
I
told it so
I
much.
yeah, I resemble those remarks. I really
Well,
do.
it was believable. I grew up Mormon. Now, if I
Right.
would have told people I was related to Ozzy Osbourne, they weren't really going to believe that. But Donnie and Marie Osmond was at least a little believable.
Yeah. Yeah.
See,
There
my
you go.
lies are believable. So, see, that's how we're different.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
So, how do we get in? How do we get into this? How do we get into this proverb so it starts to work for us? I mean, we've talked about humility a little bit, but the proverb itself is kind of lengthy.
It isn't it yeah, it is indeed. There's a lot of really knowledgeable, good instruction there.
Um,
Uh,
there's one here. It says introduces the book by defining wisdom as reverence for God.
yeah.
So utilizing God's wisdom,
Mhm.
contrasting it with foolishness.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? That means we can laugh at ourselves a little bit. Is
Yeah.
that what they're saying there? Okay.
Well, and in the big book it says, what Bill wrote, "Who am I to say there is no God?"
Yeah.
And then it also says in the book that we talk about this power, and the book says that power is God, capital God.
Yeah.
And so when the first thing that happened for me is I had to admit that I was the problem.
Yeah.
And then I had to get honest about the fact that when I stopped drinking and drugging, why were all my problems left?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't they didn't go away because I quit drinking and
Nope.
using. So I'm like, "Uh-oh, what does that mean?" Well, I didn't have principles to apply to my behavior,
That's correct. Yeah.
and my thinking was crazy, so I had to start acting properly. And
Mm-hmm.
it says on in Proverbs 1:7, it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction."
Ooh.
And
And yes, I was acting the fool when I was not
well, I was
willing to do that.
100% a fool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was not I was rebellious. I didn't wanna hear your wisdom or your instruction, even though
Yeah.
I always believed in God. Like you, I was raised
Yeah.
religiously,
Sure.
and I but I was so broken on the inside, didn't
Yeah.
even know it. I
Yeah.
didn't know it.
There was
S
there was a fear there was actually a fear there that God might actually be able to help me, and I was wrong. That was actually one of my that was and I think that's the fear that they're talking about, because people are like, "Oh, fear of God's anger." Well, I don't think that's quite what we're going for here,
No.
but it's the fear of not being able to be useful, to not providing anything in life. That's really the fear. Um,
Yeah. Well, I also realized that when I got and I didn't go to AA voluntarily. God kept sending me to AA
Absolutely.
3 different times through the courts. And when I finally realized that God was sending me there, and then you read the big book and it says that the purpose of this program is to
Yeah.
report precisely how we recovered from a hopeless
Mhm.
state of mind and body, and I'll suggest spirit.
Mhm.
And then it says the purpose is to be of maximum service to God and to others. Well,
Yeah.
I never had that purpose in my life. My
Yeah.
purpose was to be of maximum service to Roger.
To me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you had something that I wanted, then I would tell you that I loved you big time and I wanted what you
Yeah.
had.
Till I got what I wanted, and then I threw you to the wolves usually.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, towards the end of, my drinking course before I got, with my wife, who I've been with 15 years now. When I was dating, I would tell girls, "I'm a heavy drinker." I didn't say alcoholic. "I'm a really heavy drinker, and if you try and make me stop, it's over." I mean, and I thought I was being honest. I'm like, "How much more honest can I be? I'm over here admitting it." But the honest part was I wasn't willing to do anything about it. That's the honesty there,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, there's another part in this proverb that, I'd really like to talk about. Uh, it features a father's warning to his son against associating with criminals, right? Highlighting the dangers of greed and sin, personifiers, wisdom, calling out the simple and scoffers, and concludes with a stark warning of destruction for those who reject her call and blessing for those who heed her. What do we say in AA? Stick with the winners, not the wieners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because what is AA but a group of criminals? But they're criminals trying to be better people, right? So they're no longer the scoffers, right?
Yeah. That's that whole thing of acting our way into proper
There
thinking,
we go. Oh,
prudent
I did
thinking.
not make that connection. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to say that was my wisdom, but that's what you guys taught me. That's what I learned by listening, because I never listened to anybody because I just
Yeah.
didn't care. And I thought I knew everything anyway, so why would I listen to you?
Yeah.
Because you were gonna be wrong and I was gonna be right, so there's no point to listen to you.
Yeah.
And
But
now I've been told by many people that I'm a good listener because I want to be. I
yes.
want to listen and I want to care and
Mhm.
I wanna be helpful if I can, and that was never the way it was before.
Mhm.
And when I have things like Proverbs, it's like when you memorize one of these, they transform your thinking
Mm-hmm. It
into
will
right action.
infiltrate your life.
It does.
Yeah.
The very core of your spirit, it starts to infiltrate.
Yeah.
And that's what they talk about in the promises. It then becomes intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know what intuitive meant. I didn't.
No,
In-
I didn't either.
I thought intuitive was talking about women's intuition.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's a that's a whole nother subject that maybe we'll talk about
absolutely it
sometime.
is. Well, I always like to look words up. Let's find one. Intuitive.
There you go.
Describes understanding or knowing something instantly without conscious reasoning. Right.
Yeah.
So, and what do they say in the big book? You're going to have an intuitive thought.
Mhm.
And that intuitive thought is probably going to be pray. In the morning, I don't think about praying. I just do it. I've done it so much and it's
Right.
intuitive.
Yeah.
If I'm going to
Yeah.
do something, I ask God for direction. It's an intuitive thing.
Mhm. So I believe that concept, that intuitive thing is like muscle memory. When you practice
Hmm.
any kind of action, you practice it until n it becomes normal and sort of an immediate response.
Yes.
And I think that we practice these principles and we pray for the will of God and not ours.
Yeah.
And so our thinking is intuitively changed.
Hmm.
And yeah, I like that.
And when I work with somebody new, one of the first conversations we have is that recovery and AA is like the Karate Kid, where I'm going to repeat things to you over and over again. I'm going to make you wax on, wax off, pick up your coat, put it away, put it
Yeah.
on, stay in the fence. No, big
Yeah.
circles,
Yeah.
left, right. And then one day you're going to get frustrated with the program, and I'm going to throw a punch, and you're going to wax off.
Yeah.
It's going to happen automatically.
Mhm.
And that's the promises that were given to us,
That's a
that we
great
will
illustration.
intuitively know how to
How to
handle situations which used to baffle
baffle
us.
us. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
And it's
that's pretty
because we're
great.
practicing principles.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
practicing Proverbs,
yeah,
which is the purpose.
yeah.
That's
Don't,
exactly the purpose.
don't tell 80% of that to AA or they'll get freaked out.
Well, I so it took me years to be able to say something like that with love and truth so
Absolutely.
that I'm not
Yeah.
preaching at somebody. I've made every mistake
Mm-hmm.
in AA except drink or use.
Yeah.
But I've made, my ego was always in the way. Lots of people told me, Roger, never miss an opportunity to close your mouth.
Yeah.
And my wife gave me something long before we were separated,
Okay.
and she gave me a thing that I hung over the toilet in my bathroom on the wall, and it said this: "A closed mouth gathers no foot." And I used to look at that, and I instantly would
Hmm.
get resentful. But
Sure.
for some reason, I hung it where I was going to look at it 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And that is stuck in my psyche.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had lots of people tell me, Roger, never miss an opportunity to close your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
These little sayings.
yes.
They help me out. Yeah, live and let live. Keep it
Hmm.
simple. These are one day at a time.
Yep.
These are things that remind me real quick to have that intuition,
Yeah.
to be able to believe in that. And it's you remember it was an SNL skit. They did where the person he'd stand in the mirror. I think his name was Stewart or so. And it made fun. It feels silly, it really, really does. When you see like these little sayings and stuff, it's like, well, I'm 50 years old. I don't need to be hearing this and I don't want to be that old man that's closed minded and not listening. You still need to stay off my lawn, but you know, but so um yeah, I'm not sure. I don't quite remember where I was going with that. So
Well,
um
so I never want to be the crusty old timer that,
yeah.
just yells at people and tells them to shut up and sit down and take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth, and we'll get back
No.
to you when you've got 6 months or a year of sobriety. You don't have
Yeah.
anything to tell anybody. It's like, I'm just grateful they didn't treat me that way.
Yeah.
They would take me by the hand outside or put my arm put their arm around me outside the meeting and say that was really a stupid chair,
Yeah.
or you probably ought to think about this and don't say that, and those kinds of things. But
You
yeah,
know
I'm
that
just grateful.
that was one thing in AA that changed that I really appreciated. When I came in the first time in the '90s, they they were they were kind of mean. I mean, if you had less than 30 days, well, you have nothing to share.
Right.
So keep your mouth shut. That's pretty closed-minded people.
Yeah.
When we let somebody come in and let them share what's going on, the most horrible thing that's going on with them right now, and we gather around them and hold space, God, that provides hope, man. You
Yes.
know, y I went through it too, and if I need to hear somebody whine about what's going on so we can get to a solution, I'm willing to do that.
Sure.
If it's
And
gonna
that it presents the perfect opportunity after the meeting to go have a chat with that person and say, "Let me tell you, I understand exactly what you were talking
Yeah.
about. Let me tell you what I did when that happened to me, and here's
Mhm,
what the result was."
mhm.
I mean, those are the opportunities to share your experience, strength, and hope. I remember
Absolutely.
I learned one time, and it was really interesting. So
I learned one time.
yeah, I did. I once upon a time there was a time when Roger learned something, and there was about, I don't know, I would say 2 or 3 months of my early sobriety, probably my first year, where on I got sober at a 6 a.m. meeting. So on Sunday mornings, I'd go to a 6 a.m. meeting,
Okay,
and then at 7:30, I'd go to a church service. And this happened for weeks. Every day, every Sunday, we would have a topical meeting at AA. And
okay.
at the time, we were reading out as Bill sees it. And then so
Mhm.
then I'd go to church, and the sermon was the same message that I heard at AA. It went on for weeks.
Mm.
And I was like, what is going on here, God, And of course I didn't realize that it was the same message, but
Mhm.
one time the pastor came in and he said, "It's been said, and I'll never forget this." He said, "It's been said that truth without love is brutality, and love without truth is hypocrisy." And when I heard that, and I'm not kidding you, I
Yeah.
had like sirens and bells going off in my head, and I wrote it
Wow.
on the side margin of my Bible. And there was a guy that I was in the recovery program with on the other side of the church. And I
Okay.
ran up to him and I said, "Did you hear what Pastor Mike said? Blood, truth without love is brutality, and love without truth is hypocrisy." And he was all like, "Yeah." So then I was at a meeting months, maybe years later, and I was telling that story, and John came up to me and he said, "Yeah, I was there that day, bro. I remember." And what I've realized in that saying
Mhm.
is that truth without love and love without truth is operating in our churches, in our AA meetings, in all of our recovery meetings, at homes, at the
Yeah.
workplace, everywhere. And so I came to realize that, and God said it. He said, you tell the truth, but you always do it in love.
Yes.
And one of the favorite scriptures that Bill and Bob did in the early days was 1 Corinthians 13, which is the chapter on love.
Mhm.
And it basically says, no matter what you do, if you've gained the whole world and you're the king of all kings and you own your own, whatever you got, but if you have not love, you have nothing.
Yeah.
And I just went, whoa.
Yeah.
So that drives me today. And so to talk to the newcomer, I want to tell them the truth,
Yes.
but I want it to be completely in love with compassion,
Mhm.
and I want them to have hope, and I want them to know they're not alone and don't feel bad. Because if you come up and just beat them up, that's not what they need, and that may send them back out.
Yeah, we can't kick a man while he's down. We're
Yeah.
not witch
Oh,
burners. And that's so and that comes back to I went and did the work, and since I don't feel shame or blame or regret about my past anymore, I can now utilize it
of
to
course.
show
Yes.
love to this person.
Yes.
I've been there also. I know exactly how you feel, and it sucks. I know what
Yeah.
that. like.
Yeah, you can walk
There's a
up to a
way
newcomer
out
and put
from
your
it.
yeah, put your arm around there is a way out. I put your arm around the newcomer and say, "Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was right where you were, and here's what I did, and here's how it is now."
Mhm.
But the other thing, that other part of that saying was, "Love without truth is
Mhm.
hypocrisy."
Yeah.
And you hear that operating in homes, churches, workplace,
Yeah.
recovery
Through
meetings, and
appeasement.
everywhere. Like, you'll
Mhm.
hear this in a meeting, "Hey, brother, don't worry about the 12 steps. Just keep coming back and
Just
don't
go to
drink
meetings.
in between meetings." "Oh, really? That's gonna kill people."
And I hear you because, you know, and this is the different, and because so sometimes somebody will come in and they're going, and we got one and two choices. We can either appease them or we can tell the truth, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be okay. We treat them like a little puppy dog. Oh, you're gonna be okay. You're
Yeah,
right. It's gonna be okay. The opposite is you're correct. It's not okay.
yeah,
You're what's going on right now? No, it is your behavior. I know my behavior was not acceptable going through
right,
that. You're kind of doing that. So you're right. It's not okay. But I
yeah,
tell you this, I got respect for the fact that you came in and raised your hand. And I
yeah,
do. Anybody that comes into the rooms, raises their hand for the first time, they get automatic respect from me. They
yeah,
get
me too.
automatic love
Yep, because I remember how
because they've
hard that
never
was.
gotten it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
You love them with the truth. You
Mhm.
love them with the truth. Yeah.
Well, you can't really have one without the other.
No,
Love can't
but
exist
I
without
did. I
truth.
did for years.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I did what did I didn't know. I whatever.
and that goes back to emotional sobriety growing up,
Yeah,
growing up emotionally.
100%.
It's funny because growing up, it says in the big book, we love to have people call us precocious, which
Yeah.
means, you're too smart for your own age. And I heard that until I got older, at 13, 14, man, you were beyond your years. You were wise. Oh, and I loved it.
Oh, of
I loved
course.
hearing it.
Yes, I am. Of course I
Absolutely.
am.
But if you mess with my alcohol, I'll act like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, at 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was reading that this morning, that we have to stop. We wanna be childlike, but we don't wanna be childish,
Yeah.
and my
Mhm.
emotions were childish,
Yeah.
and so was my
It's
behavior.
certainly okay to have fun and play with your inner child, but, when you when you throw yourself on the ground whining and crying because 'cause you're not getting what you want, yeah, doesn't really fly when you're 37, 57 years old. They have different words for that. They call it 72-hour hold.
Oh, man, yeah.
Oh.
I love this.
So what else do you think we could say on this? And, what are some of the reasons why we ignore wisdom? Ego, denial, comfort in our chaos, comfort in the dysfunction. Because it could be kind of tough because even though I'm an alcoholic, at least I'm something. If I give all that up, I'm nothing. And that's the scary part. It's that transition
Right.
of the death of the old self, and you're gonna feel empty when that happens because you
Yes.
need to be a new vessel, right?
Right. So, and again, it took me pretty much years to learn this, but,
Yeah,
I've come to learn simple things, and one of them is that God didn't create trash.
that's
So when
right.
I hear people share in a meeting and they're newcomers and they describe themselves as POS,
Yes.
I cringe, and then I wanna
Mhm.
go up and hug them and say,
Yeah,
You're not. You are sick, and you got a deadly disease, but you are not a POS.
correct.
You are a child of God, and guess what? If you do these steps, your life will change, and you will find purpose in your life,
Mhm.
and you will never regret it, and you will
Right.
be happy, joyous, and free,
You don't
and you'll become grateful
yeah. You don't have to feel that way anymore.
ever again.
Yeah.
There's a
If
friend of
you
mine
allow
who's got 44 years, and he says this, and it happened to him. He said, "You don't have to drink or hurt yourself anymore, and you don't
Mm.
have to hurt the people around you anymore.
Yep.
You can stop doing those things and come join us right here.
Yeah, I think it's so great when we give people permission to heal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do that by being a good example, by, setting things straight in front of other people.
Right.
It's because the way I see it, it's okay to be wrong if you're willing to make it right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but for me, I had to eventually learn from my mistakes. I
Oh,
never did in the past because I
no,
lied.
I
I
get
never
it.
admitted I had mistakes. It wasn't my fault.
Yeah,
I was a
right.
victim of circumstance. You
Right.
can't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I already know. Blah 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 blah. And now I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Uh-huh.
And now I have principles that will help me not act and behave the way that I used to.
Yeah.
And that's part of being accountable to the fellowship and responsible, to God and so forth. And life is so much simpler that way. Not
Yeah.
not always easy, but it's way simpler.
It is, when we stop fighting everything and
Everybody.
everyone, we can start to see the world for what it actually is, and we can see ourselves for who we are.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about, we didn't see would dam the forest for the trees because there
Yeah.
might be a couple ugly trees. Well, we're that forest, man.
Yeah.
And you gotta, Dion at least had to understand that the parts that I thought were ugly were actually beautiful. I just didn't know how to use them correctly.
Yeah. Well, and my sponsor would say stuff like this really early on in my recovery. He'd say, "I want you to go smell a rose." I'm like, "What?" And he'd say, "Did I stutter? I want you to go smell a rose." And I did it. And it's
Yeah,
like, "Wow, that smells good.
yeah.
Wow, that's a beautiful flower. Wow, look at that hummingbird.
Mhm.
Wow, look at the beautiful sunset and sunrise. Wow, look at the beautiful clouds. Wow." Because I was too busy being you know, a jerk and being under the
Yeah,
influence and being selfish, and I didn't
my
pay
head was
attention to
down
anything.
all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't looking up.
No.
Yeah, I remember, being 4 or 5 months sober the first time and discovering that grass is green and not a dark brown hue because, when you drink, you don't dream. When you don't dream, you don't REM, and things get foggy, plus the
Yeah,
alcohol, plus the head down. I didn't notice colors before. I
right.
didn't notice smells. They didn't bring me joy because I was too busy being selfish. I don't
Yeah,
know how to describe it, but I was too caught up in myself to see that there were a lot of beautiful things around me that I was missing,
yeah,
and now I get to
yes,
see God in everything.
yes. Exactly right, and appreciate everything. I don't believe in coincidence or mistakes, and when my awareness is such that I'm aware of God's creation and God's people and everything around me, I'm constantly going, "Wow." I'll give you a perfect example. This morning, I got sober at a 6 a.m. meeting. I think I already said that,
Yeah,
but anyway, I was at a meeting this morning, and it was a really good meeting. There were a lot of really deep shares. We
cool.
were reading Step 12 and the 12 and 12, and
Mhm.
if you haven't read Step 12 and the 12 and 12 lately, it's a deep, powerful
It
read.
is.
And yeah, and so after the meeting, I'm having this cool share with a gentleman that lost his wife of 57 years not too long ago, and I was sharing that my wife died in in 2013 from this disease, and we were just sharing
Mhm.
about things like that. And so everybody's left the parking lot now. I'm getting into my car.
Mm,
I get into my car, I start my engine, and I look at my speedometer display,
mhm.
and there's a praying mantis on the
Oh, cool.
plastic screen
Yeah,
over my speedometer. So a praying, well, first of all, it's one of my favorite insects because if you've
okay.
ever been around or watched one, they're amazing.
Yeah.
So I put my glove on and I reached down and it was on my hand, on my finger.
Mhm.
And I started taking pictures of it from different angles. And they're really cool, a really cool creation.
Look at that.
Yeah. And so I sent a text and some pictures to some of my sponsees and my son. I
Mhm.
said, "Look what God gave me this morning. And
Yeah.
I said, and I don't know how. My car was locked. I have no idea how that praying mantis got in my car because it wasn't open.
Yeah. Didn't have a
And
way to get in.
and I took him out and I took pictures and I talked to it and I went and put it on a tree by a flower and I
Mhm.
left. And I I would have probably killed that thing if I were under the
That's what I
influence
was gonna
back in the
say.
day.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say, when I first got sober, if God gave me a burning bush, probably throw water on it. I'm just a
Yeah,
reactive
right.
person, now I'm gonna let that thing burn
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
I ain't supposed to touch it. Yeah, and that's what
But
I was
I've
thinking
had
too, that
a lot of experiences like that in nature where you can't explain
mhm,
what just happened.
yeah,
It's just a
and
little message from God.
what did they say? If you ask God why, we're arguing.
Yeah. Look around. Yep.
Oh, that's great. Well, do is there anything else that you'd like to talk about on Proverbs 1 as we kinda wrap up here?
Well, I would encourage anybody who has a Bible to read the Proverbs. They'll
Yeah.
I promise they'll you'll go, "Oh my gosh, I get it," or "That's interesting," or "What does that mean?" Um, it's just it's full of wisdom. That
Mhm,
thing that we read in the very beginning, it talks about, how to have what did it say? For receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair. Um,
mm,
I learned that the goal of having principles in our life is not about being right. Because Dion, don't you know I was always right, and you or anybody else was always wrong.
right.
And I learned that it's not about being right. It's about
Mhm,
doing the right thing at the right time for the
yep,
right reason in the right place to the right person the first time. And that's wisdom that the steps teach us.
yeah,
And when you realize that the 12 steps came directly from the Bible, because
mhm,
they didn't have the big book in the beginning.
yeah,
They read the Bible.
yeah.
So, when all that started to happen, I had aha moments on a nonstop basis. I'm like, "Wow! Aha! Oh my god! Wow!" And it's still happening today, and I love that.
Yeah,
God's constantly revealing His love and His truth and His power to us when we ask.
yeah,
He said, "You receive not because you ask not." So ask, and
yeah,
it's better to be a giver than a receiver. And the funny thing is that sounds weird, kind of, but here's the deal: the payoff is when you are a giver with no strings attached, God will blow your mind
the
because
gifts
you
I get
can't outgive
are
God. You can't outgive God.
no, you can't, and
Oh,
and it's
it's
it's not money. This is what the it makes me think of this, 'cause, Rolling Stones say you can't always get what you want, but if you
right.
try sometimes, you'll find you get what you need.
Need, yeah,
It's kinda weird because nowadays God gives me what I want because I
right.
want God's will.
Well, there but that's not the way it was. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had to learn that. If I
yeah,
ask for God's will, I get exact not only do I get what I need, but ultimately I get what I want because what I want is His will.
yeah,
And
which is
sometimes that's painful. It's not always it's not always
it's
a feel good thing.
well, growing is never comfortable, you know, but if you're okay sitting in a little bit of discomfort so you can get to the truth, well, because chaos and serenity
Yeah.
they can coincide
Well,
together. They can
did
live together.
did you grow up playing sports when you were young?
I played soccer.
Okay, so I played basketball, football, but anyway, so during those years and when you get into particularly into high school, that line about no pain, no gain, I thought was
Mhm.
so stupid. I thought, "What does that mean, that pain?" And we learn
Yeah,
pain in the big book, pain is the touchstone of spiritual
touchstone of
growth.
all change. Yeah.
And so I get no pain, no gain. I need those little cliches that now
Mhm.
run around in my brain as axioms of behavior.
Mm.
They're factual, they're true, and I can't escape them. I
Yeah.
can't run from them. Darn it! Like you can run, but you can't hide. I just laugh at that now. I'm not hiding, but I
Yeah.
want to run sometimes.
Yeah. Now, there are some changes you can make where, you don't have to wait for the pain to change. You can also use humility and character building as a way of life and avoid the pain if you want to.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
sometimes pain does motivate me a little
Yes.
bit. Like when it comes to my kids, I still have a little bit of regret, but it's just enough to make me a better person, not to overwhelm me. It's
Right.
enough to motivate me. It's
Sure.
not and so now I use that regret for good, and
Yeah.
God taught me to do that.
Yeah. Amen.
Awesome. This has
It's
been
all over our textbook, isn't it?
yeah. Lack of power, that was our dilemma.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my
Roger,
goodness.
this was great, and, I look forward to the next one. We plan on doing this every other Tuesday.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
but be a little bit earlier next time. But yeah, Roger will pick the proverb. I'll create a title out of it in a little bit, and we will do it again. So thank you, Roger, for taking your time with us. Well, I don't even need to do that. You're one of the hosts. I'm treating you like a co-host of stuff. So we'll see y'all again in 2 weeks. And yeah, you're working with me here. So thank you, Roger. I appreciate it. I love you, brother.
I love you back, man. I love all the people that are listening. Make it a great day unless you got other plans.
That's right. And I stole your line. People are like, "How are you doing?" And I say, "I have no valid complaints."
I
So,
stole that from somebody too in my
yeah,
first few months of sobriety. The guy
yeah,
looked at me and said that, and I went, "Whoa,
yeah, it
I'm
works
stealing
great.
that."
Like,
Yeah,
yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you.
love you back.
You know I do.